everybody. Welcome back to another episode of A Little Jaded. We have a really special guest here with us today. It's Foxglove, but I'm going to toss it over to my longtime co-host, Joanna.
Hi, guys. We're super excited for today's episode. We're excited because we're welcoming back Foxglove, who has been on the podcast. If you guys haven't already listened to that episode, you guys should definitely go. That was in 2021, I think. So it's been a minute. Go back and listen to it. But for anyone who doesn't know who Foxglove is, they're an alternative band based in Southern California. And you may have come across them on TikTok. Follow them at the band Foxglove. Love all their content on there. Their first single, Overnight, released in 2021. They released their first EP, Inflections, shortly after. So we've been friends for a minute here with Jada Productions, and you guys actually were a part of our final semester project with Jade University. So our students created assets and things for the band. If anyone wants to check that out, it's on our website. And yeah, your new single just dropped on June 2nd. Super exciting. And anyways, welcome back, Jayden, Tristen, and Alex.
Hey everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, hello.
Of course, we're excited to have you back. And for anybody who is listening and maybe isn't super familiar, didn't listen to the first episode, can you guys give a little bit of a background on the band, how it was created?
So we're a rock band from Orange County. We've gone through a bunch of changes, but we've been this lineup for about 2 years now. And we've written a bunch of songs in the past. We recently came out with, not recently, but about almost 2 years ago now, we came out with an EP called Inflections. That was kind of an amalgamation of a bunch of our singles and stuff and like other songs we've written in the years prior. Now we're working on a new project with a new sound that we're headed towards. And we recently came out with our single Save Yourself, which is the first song of many that we've come out with.
That's awesome. I think, yeah, I'm a big fan of like Save Yourself, and obviously I've listened to all of your stuff, but like I think Save Yourself is definitely like, a killer song. But like, you just released that, and now we're beginning of July. Can you tell us kind of what inspired this new song and the process of kind of creating the track? Was this any different than prior tracks or kind of the same process?
So when we started writing this song, I know Jayden wrote up a sort of like a skeleton of the song, with chord progressions and the structure of the song technically, and we all heard it and we all listened to it, and we formed something around it. The way that we usually write songs is we write all the instrumental first, and then we write vocals and like lyrics and stuff like that. But for me personally, because I'm the one who wrote the lyrics, it was about a relationship I've had where it almost felt like I was stunted in my personal growth. And so, and it was very hard for me personally to like break that connection off, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to, because it's not necessarily that it's toxic. It's just more that you could be in a better place without that person. And it's a tough thing to sort of internalize. But there's a couple lines in there, like I took a chance from me and I owned it. And I think I'm better off making that decision that was really hard for me. And I think that a lot of people can relate to that, not even in relationships, but in life in general, that sometimes you have to stick up for yourself and take the biggest step that you can to better yourself as a person. It might really, really suck at the time, but in the long run, it's probably better for you. So that was the whole mindset of writing the lyrics to that song. And it's a very emotional song to me. I'm not sure if a lot of people pick up on that, but because it's kind of dancey, it's like really exciting and upbeat. But that's kind of what we like to do, is write songs that are upbeat, that people really want to dance to, but that like have a little bit more of a deeper connection that you can delve deeper into. So there's replayability value, and people can relate to it on a certain level.
Some of like our favorite indie songs have that kind of juxtaposition between the really happy, like dancey instrumentals, and then you listen to it and you're like, maybe I should actually be sad when I'm hearing this, but the music makes me so happy. I'm just so torn inside. But yeah, another big part of this song was different is we actually went and got another mixing engineer, Joe, and we had him help us on the song. So that's kind of another step. Beforehand, we've had Jayden mix all of our songs, and he's amazing at it. And he mixed this one as well, but there was a certain point where we wanted to kind of push it a little bit further and realize that we might need some extra help. So that was a big learning process for us, like working with somebody new. For so long, it's just been us three, and this is like the product that we make and nobody else touches it. But we wanted to kind of expand expand a little bit and get some other people touching the project and see what they can do with it.
Yeah, that's super cool. I think especially as an artist, you want to be able to grow. And so I think that that's cool, like being able to take that step. And like you said, like this is your baby, like trusting somebody to like, work on that it's definitely a big step. So that's really cool that you guys have taken that step as you're starting to release more music. And as you said before, like this is a big change compared to your music before. And it's been almost 2 years since releasing Inflections. So what did that time look like as a band, as individuals, and how was it when you were, deciding to come back and start releasing music again?
I feel like Inflections was a lot of music that we wrote in a different era, kind of like of us as a band. Like went through a lot of changes. Like before then, we were a 4-piece. Right, we're sticking to a very particular genre that we've been like in since like high school. And so when we finished Inflections and put it out, we had a band member leave. We've been switching around, and we kind of felt we're in a place where we wanted to write everything. And so we were going all these different, like, I don't know if you guys heard the last single before this one. It was called Out of Sync. It was like a pop punk song. So we just like, what if we wrote like a pop punk song? And then we had another song that we were writing. We're like, what if we were like hip hop? We kept going everywhere.
And another thing too, like, what was it? 8, 10 songs?
10 songs each.
10 songs each to add to a playlist. And that we would want to, not necessarily mimic, but that we each take inspiration from. And we added it to a full playlist, and we listened to each single one of them and allowed all three of us to explain the exact elements of those tunes that we enjoyed, that we would want to, incorporate into our own music. And we whittled it down to what, 5?
Yeah.
5 songs that we think would be indicative of exactly what we're trying to accomplish as artists. And so it was less, like we're trying to mimic something as opposed to, we're trying to take something from what these artists mean to us as people in general that we wanted to incorporate into our music. And so that helped us sort of streamline exactly what we're trying to do as a band and what we're trying to achieve sound-wise, that we could incorporate into our own music that would allow people to listen to our album continuously without being like kind of jarred by the drastic change in genres.
And I think this kind of whole ordeal with us evolving, you could say, is since we all come from different backgrounds of music and all listen to different things, we all had different things to bring to the table, which is amazing. But sometimes it kind of pulled us one part this way or pulled us this way. And so, you can listen to even our last EP, and there's a wide variety of songs. So when people would ask us like, oh, what kind of music do you play? You're like, oh, well, we play indie rock, but we have kind of like a metal song, and we have like a classic rock song. So take with that what you will. But now we can like definitively say identity that we can have as a band.
Which I know you guys will see with our new singles that are going to be coming out.
Yeah. You guys talking about the playlist thing that you were doing is such an interesting process to kind of go about it, especially because obviously you are 3 different people. You are all going to have 3 different backgrounds and 3 different types of music that you listen to on your own time. So being able to draw from that, but still create your own sound, I think that's a really cool thing. Before we move on, you were cutting out a little bit. Okay, anybody who's watching the video, there was a slight change in scenery, but we're back. Jayden, did you want to go back and touch on that what you were talking about before, if you remember?
Yeah, I'll try to remember what I said. So I was saying that when we came out with our EP Inflections, it was a lot of music that we had written prior, and we were a different setup. Like at the time, I was singing and playing guitar. We had a different band member playing bass. We're confined to a genre that we're very much in with at the time. And then that band member left. We did some switching around. We still had those songs, so we put them out. But after we put those songs out, we had nothing written, and we haven't written in this configuration before. And so we're like,
except for Sadist.
Except for Sadist. That's
Sadist was
that's the exception.
Yeah.
But we kind of had like so much freedom with this configuration that we really felt like we could go anywhere and do anything. Like our last single, Out of Sync, was like a pop punk song. And that was from literally one day we're like, well, we just wrote a pop punk song, and we did. And I love that song. We all love that song. But it was like we wanted to do so many different things that we had to kind of like come together and be like, okay, what is a sound that we can like come to like towards and agree on and like write towards for a full project,
but also wouldn't restrict anything.
Yeah,
that would be true to ourselves without, quote unquote, selling out or trying to mimic anything that we've listened to individually.
Yeah. And do you think that that's hard as obviously lovers of music, and you're constantly surrounded by so much music every day, like trying to find that sound and kind of cut through what's popular?
In some ways, I think we kind of were stressing out a lot about that before we had written anything. And then once we actually wrote the songs and then kind of like listened to them like on the outside in, we're like, okay, we see how these are special. And that's just kind of how they came out. And that's just because we are who we are, and all of our influences come through, and we can't help but sound like what we sound like.
But since it's your own touch too, it's gonna end up not sounding exactly like, how another artist did it. It's